Welcome back to another Coffee and Chats. Why did I decide to give these videos that weird name? Like, I don't know. But there hasn't been a Coffee and Chats video in a while, so I thought, what better time than to just sit here with my coffee in my Chippendale mug and talk to you guys about something. I haven't really done a video revolving around eating disorders or body image issues or mental health or whatever in a while. I think I checked, and I think the last time that I did one was at like the beginning of the year. I think it was about February time, because I think it was talking about recovery after leaving therapy, and in February I'd been out of therapy for a year. And I've almost been out of therapy for 2 years now, which is crazy. But I think that was the last time I did a kind of mental health video, since it's Christmas time, and evidently this is a time that can be really, really difficult for people who struggle with eating disorders and body image issues. I thought that I would do a video kind of surrounding that, more focusing on body image issues, because I did a video last year, which I will link down below, about general eating disorder recovery at Christmas time, and so I want this video to be a lot more focused on body image. I'm going to touch a little bit on where I am at in terms of body image and things that kind of help me get through kind of bad body image stints, and I don't know, just kind of hopefully help you guys. I know, especially around about this time of year, it can be really difficult because obviously there's like loads of food, and you do tend to eat a lot more around about this time of year, and a lot more like stuff that isn't as good for you. Yeah, that's what we're going to talk about today while I drink my coffee. First things first, I'll kind of get where I am in terms of body image. Generally, I'm okay. As I said, I've been out of therapy for almost 2 years now. I am definitely in a place where I can eat the majority of things without any anxiety or fear. Like, for example, I had Domino's last night. I also just ate the leftover pizza there for my lunch. But there was a time where if I was going to have a Domino's, I would have had to know in advance. I would have had to know, like, at least a few days in advance that I was going to be eating Domino's, and there is no way in hell that I would have eaten pizza 2 days in a row. Food-wise, that's where I'm at. I can eat things spontaneously, and 9 times out of 10, it's all good. Sometimes there can be a bit of a difficulty. If I'm just slightly off that day, there may be a time where I'm like a bit more awkward around food, but generally I'm all good. I still have, though, a bit of issue surrounding body image. I can obviously only speak in terms of myself, and everybody is different. Everybody's eating disorder, everybody's mental health, everybody's kind of, if you've got body image issues, those issues are all different to each individual. So I can only speak by my experience and through how I feel and what helps me. So where I'm at, very up and down with it. I will have a stint where I feel okay with my body, and I can say currently I'm in a good phase. I'm in a good body image phase, okay, right now. But I will have a few days up to a week where I feel really shitty about my body image. There may be like an odd time of the day or like an odd day during the week where I feel a bit shit, but even if you don't have eating problems or body image issues, such as like body dysmorphia or whatever, everyone kind of gets down about their body sometimes. So those kind of odd times I don't really count. I'm only counting when I'm feeling bad about my body and it leads me to thinking about possibly acting on old disordered behaviours, or it leaves me an emotional wreck. For the most part, I am okay. But there are the odd times. And I've came to realise that the times that I feel bad about my body naturally do tend to be days where I know that I haven't eaten as well as I usually do. So for example, if I have eaten out more that week than I usually do, I'm more prone to feeling bad. Now obviously you could easily turn around and say, well, just don't do that. Like, just don't go out to eat 3 times a week, or don't, you know, eat so much chocolate during the week. But I'm like, well, that's not normal, because there are times where you'll eat more junk food than usual. There are times where you will go out to eat multiple times a week just for whatever reason. You know, you may just be really busy that week, or it may be coming up to Christmas and, you know, like, you're going out to dinner with several people. That happens. And by actively saying, oh no, I'm not going to eat that chocolate bar, or I'm not going to go out for dinner with my friends because I've already done that, or I've already eaten that this week, that links in with previous disordered behaviour. Again, I'm speaking on behalf of myself. If I was to do that, that would be like an old disordered behaviour I was going back to, and I am not doing that. So what do I do? What do I do when I'm feeling really bad? Basically, what I do is I wait it out. That is really all you can do. No matter what stage of recovery you are at, you just have to wait it out and wait until that bad period, those really negative thoughts, pass. Obviously there are things that will make you feel better, you know, if you try and keep yourself distracted, spend time with friends, or like your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, family. Those things can keep you distracted. But through experience, I know that no matter what you're doing and no matter how distracted you try to make yourself, it's always going to be in the back of your head. It's always there. Depending on where you are in recovery will determine how easy you can push the thoughts away. I'm at a stage, as I've said, I've been out of therapy for almost 2 years now. I am definitely at a stage where I can easily, for the most part, I can easily push those thoughts away. There are the odd times where I can't, and it's literally just like all I can think about and I don't want to do anything else. But for the most part, I can just ignore them and I can try and continue watching something or listening to music, or, you know, hang out with my friends, whatever. But if you are in the earlier stages of recovery, it is very easy to fall into a relapse, and I think that's why so many people in recovery do relapse, is because they will feel bad about themselves, and they will then act upon a behaviour, a disordered behaviour, and they will feel good about themselves again for like the smallest of moments, and then they start feeling shitty again. But thankfully I'm at a stage now where I don't do that. I don't act on disordered behaviours. It's a lot easier to just push those thoughts away and ignore them. And the last time I felt really shitty about my body, which I think was only a few weeks ago, I was just in my house. I was sitting downstairs, I was on my laptop, it was in the evening. I had been watching something, and usually when I watch something, I like to just munch on something. Like, I think everyone does that. If you're watching something in the evening, you want to munch on something, right? So I was watching something, and I was munching on my favourite sort of caramel pretzels. Like, they are 10 out of 10. Amazing. And as soon as I finished them, I felt horrible, because I knew that I wasn't actually hungry. I just wanted something to munch on while I was watching something. But I wasn't hungry. My body didn't actively need food. But I ate them anyway, and then I felt bad afterwards because I'm like, I wasn't hungry. My head was like, where the fuck did you eat them? Like, and this is like, I can't believe I was thinking this. If you haven't seen any of my previous eating disorder videos, a little bit of context. When I had an eating disorder, well, when I was in the kind of worst of my eating disorder, I only ever restricted my eating. It was anorexia nervosa that I was diagnosed with, and all I did was just restrict my eating. I didn't binge, I didn't purge, I didn't do any of that. I just simply restricted my food intake. So I have never in my life binged or purged. However, I think I am at a kind of level where I could easily fall into that habit, because there's definitely been times in the past where I've just felt like eating everything. I just have these random impulse to kind of just eat everything. I'm very good at like control, like because I restricted my intake. With that, I was very good at controlling food and making myself stop. So I think that kind of helps in me being like, no, I'm not gonna do that. And also in my head, I'm like, if I start doing that, that ain't gonna end well. But there have definitely been times where I feel as if I could have fallen into that pattern. And the other week there, the thought was so strong of making myself throw up. Now, that's something that I had never done. Not even in the days where I was at my worst. Never threw up. Never even really contemplated it, I don't think. That thought was just in my head. Now, of course, I was consciously being like, no, I'm not doing that as much as the idea may appeal right now. Like, I was like, don't be so stupid, you know? But it was there. And so it kind of got me thinking, well, I still have a dangerous mind. My mind is still a dangerous thing, or can be a dangerous thing. And when I was feeling like that, I just, you know, continued to pretend that I was fine, you know. I was just continued sitting downstairs with my family on my laptop, and I went to bed, and of course I was fine the next day. I was okay. But I think the kind of main thing here is when you're feeling that way, it's very important that you just kind of, I guess, accept that that's the way you feel, but it's not going to last forever. And also know that even though you may get a brief feeling of contentment, a brief feeling of satisfaction, acting upon disordered behaviours is not the way to go about it. And I know that's easier said than done, you know, like I've came through the worst of it, and I know what it's like when you are still really, really trapped and confined in that headspace. The longer that you have been in recovery, the easier it gets to ignore that voice. But the voice doesn't go away. Well, it hasn't went away from me yet. Anyway, whether it will, I don't know. But you've just got to just remember that it will pass. And also, like, if you want to cry about it, cry. Like, I'm a big believer in crying. I cry all the time, like, over anything and everything. I'm a big crier. I'm a very emotional person. And I've cried about my eating disorder and body image issues, God knows how many times. I don't even know. Too many times to count. But don't be afraid, like, sometimes that does help. That does help just to get those emotions out. And talk to someone as well. Talk to, like, if, as I said, I'm out of therapy, so obviously I can't really talk to a therapist. I try to talk to Ryan, my boyfriend, sometimes, but like, I'm very, I find it really hard to like talk about feelings and how I'm feeling unless I'm talking to a camera. I find it very easy to talk to a camera, but when it's like talking to another person directly, I'm like, blah. And sometimes I talk to my best friend, Misha, but like, just, you know, because people are there to support you, and like, just because you've been out of like therapy or whatever for however many years, and if you've been recovered for however many years, that doesn't mean that you're not like, that doesn't mean that people still don't want to help you. That doesn't mean that you're not going to have bad days where you feel worse, or that doesn't mean that there's not going to be any more days where that negative voice is louder than others. Like, it probably will happen. I think I've said everything. I hope you kind of followed along. Again, I've done a video where I don't really have like a list of points that I want to say. I'm just kind of rambling out. I don't know if that's better or worse, but basically the point is that these bad days will happen. They will pass. You've just got to wait it out. The longer that you've been in recovery, the easier it gets. Please try your best to not act on disordered behaviours, because that will not help. It will give you a brief moment of happiness, contentment, satisfaction, but in the long run, it ain't going to do you any good. I hope you found this video somewhat helpful, or even if you don't suffer from an eating disorder or body image issues to this severity and you're just watching it because for the banter. If you know someone who has struggles with these things, I hope it's been eye-opening for you to kind of know what it's like a little bit, and maybe try and like pass on this advice to them. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.